Welcome to Soul Trek. This week's episode, Making Space. I think I've probably used this joke before, but it's a true story, and, I'm sorry, but it fits today's topic as well. We were in a restaurant, and I think it was probably an anniversary or a birthday party or something. So we had multiple courses. The first course was done, and the server came by and she said that as she was clearing away the first course, she said, "I'm just making space." To which I replied that, given my limited knowledge of the space-time continuum, I wasn't entirely certain that she was capable of making space. My kids were embarrassed by my comment, but luckily this server had a bit of a sense of humor, and she went along with it and said that she was indeed capable of making space regardless of the space-time continuum. So we had a lot of fun that day. But actually what I was thinking about, because, this winter we've had an awful lot of snow in PEI, and so I've done an awful lot of shoveling. Now, my theory when it comes to shoveling is that you're not just shoveling the snow away, you're also making space for the next snowfall as well, because you want someplace to put that snow. I remember years ago when I was studying in Toronto, I went back home to Dartmouth for Christmas, and there's an awful lot of snow in those 2 or 3 weeks that I was home for Christmas. An awful lot of snow. I remember even early in the morning, like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, shoveling the driveway yet again in that 2-week period so that we could get the car out so I could get to the airport and fly back to Toronto. There was so much snow that, I'd take a shovel full of snow and I had to walk it halfway down the sidewalk in order to find a place to deposit that snow shovel, because I couldn't throw it up over the bank because it was just too high. So shout out to Mr. Watts, Nelson Watts, who, when I was a kid, he lived 2 doors up, and he had a snow blower. So he used to blow out his driveway, then he would come down the sidewalk and blow out our driveway. But eventually, Mr. Watts, Nelson, moved back to Prince Edward Island, and I had to start shoveling snow again, and particularly that time. I remember a couple of months later, I phoned home and I was chatting with Mom about the winter, imagining that they just had more and more snow, just like they did at Christmas. And she said, no, it was a really mild winter, that they haven't really had any significant snow since I left. So there you go. We've had a lot of snow here on PEI, and I did at one point kind of run out of places to put it. And that's always very discouraging. But I tried. Each snowfall, I try to think about what the next snowfall will bring, and I'm sure to put it somewhere. So making space for things is really important, a snowfall or whatever. Prayer and meditation are things that we need to make space for as well in our lives. And that's all I want to do today, is encourage you to make that space. I heard it described like this one time, that imagine Jesus as being one of your close friends, and you invite Jesus over for a cup of coffee. And so Jesus comes over and he sits down at the kitchen table, and the coffee's percolating and stuff, and just before you sit down you say, oh, just a minute, I gotta go do something, and you go do that thing, and then you come over, the coffee's ready, oh, just a minute, Jesus, I gotta go do this other thing. And that goes on for the whole time, and Jesus just sits there patiently waiting for us to make space, make time for him in our lives. That same person who told that story went on to say that according to the statistics that he had at hand, and these were, I think, U.S. Statistics, but the same probably applies to Canada, that the average person watches something like 5 or 6 hours of television a day. And so his question was, we can find space and time to watch 6 hours of television, but we can't find 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to sit down with Jesus? That's the question. And I don't say that to try and make people feel guilty, because there are lots of distractions and there are lots of responsibilities that we have in our lives. One of my responsibilities, for example, is to clear snow from around the house. And I make space, or try to make space, for the next snowfall as well. So as difficult and as challenging as it can be for all of us, I encourage you to make space, regardless of the space-time continuum, regardless of all the other responsibilities that we have in our lives, to try and find a little bit of time each and every day, each and every couple of days, each and every week, whenever we can, to sit down with Jesus. He's just sitting there at the table waiting for us, patiently waiting for us, without judgment, waiting for us to spend some time with him in prayer and meditation. And the effect that that can have on our lives is tremendous, because then we'll find Jesus is walking around with us all the time and can help us navigate through the challenges that we face each and every hour. So thank you for tuning in to this Soul Trek, and I do hope and pray that you find the strength, the ability to set time and space aside for Jesus. God bless.